Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Finneran Pavilion, to the Countdown to Tipoff Show. I'm Steve Pinone, and I'm joined by Whitey Rigsby. Whitey, a little new format today. Here as we start, we'll do this prior to all our pavilion games for the rest of the season. Just a little bit to talk about this year's team. Wildcats come off a big win over the Georgetown Hoyas on Saturday. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a great win, I think, on Saturday. Anytime you beat Georgetown, if you're as a Villanova Wildcat, you're very happy. And I think the format of the show and to have the opportunity for people to see the show prior to all the pavilion games is going to be a lot of fun. And back to Georgetown, Patrick Ewing on the sideline. It's great to see him on the sideline, not on the court.
Yeah, but he's done a good job with that program. They've had a lot of defections throughout the season through numerous reasons why, a couple of transfers and a couple of people dismissed from the program. But the Cats get a good job, got the 3-1 in the league, got a big game tonight with the DePaul Blue Demons. This league's been as good as it's ever been. Yeah,
and I think more than anything, Steve, the league is better from the bottom up more so than the top. I think they've had some very good teams on the top these past few years, but I think the bottom of this league is really improved, where it's going to be very difficult moving through this big league schedule, and then when the people have to decide in March who goes to the NCAA tournament, right now it could be any one of 10 really right now.
Yeah. And we'll take a quick look back. Saturday at the Wells Fargo Center, the Villanova Wildcats took on the Georgetown Hoyas.
Good morning and welcome inside the Wells Fargo Center in South Philadelphia, where today the Villanova Wildcats, number 16 in the country with a record of 11-3 overall, 2-1 in Big East play, take on their longtime rival, the Georgetown Hoyas, who enter with a record of 11-5, 1-2 in Big East play. Bay in the lane, turning, spinning, and flicks in a 4-footer, Whitey. Bay, right wing, three-pointer. Yes, sir, with 2 on the shot clock. He nailed it from the right wing. Bay gets it. Bay kicks. Samuels finds Swider, wide open 3. Good from the left corner. Robinson Earl working on yard 7. Reverse layup is good. What a take. Showed great quickness. Now gives it off to Gillespie. Shot clock at 7. Gillespie in the high post. Finds Bay. Left wing. Good look at a 3, and he nails it. Moore back to Gillespie. Straight away open 3. Yes, sir. Gillespie delivers. Bay's going to fire a long distance 3, and it's a swish from NBA range right wing. Bay kicks Moore. Right wing. Good look at a 3, and he drills it. King finds Bay. Left wing. And he drills the 3 right in front of. Right wing, 3 is good by Cole Swider. Back to Samuels, and he nails a 3 from the left wing with Blair pretty close to him. Shot clock at 7. Bay straight away, drills a 3, a swish. Samuels got to make a play. 1 on the shot clock, all the way to the rim. Layup is good, and he's fouled. What a take. What great recognition of the shot clock.
Let's hear what Coach Wright had to say in his post-game press conference following the Wildcats' big victory.
Really in any given day type of league this year? I mean, it looks like there's just not that much.
It isn't. Although we'll see how this plays out, but just watching Butler last night, they look like they got a little to me right now. You know, and what a season's about is where does it end up? You know, when there's been some years here where we've been the team early, and then it's how do you deal with success? You know, so a season's a crazy journey. We're definitely not one of those teams this year. We have great upside. We got a lot of potential, a lot of young guys. Jeremiah Robinson Earl was really good tonight. Justin Moore's been really good. He struggled tonight. You know, that's what your young guys. But our Colin and Sadiq was great. We're getting there. Like, you know, there's always something. Offensively, we're not good against Creighton. Defensively, we were great. I thought we were really good defensively in the second half tonight. First half, we were not good. But you know, that's a young team, and that's what it is. And you just got to keep growing. And in this year with the Big East, you can get knocked off. Like that game against Marquette, we looked like the 10th place team, and it's the way it's going to be this year because everybody can make you look bad, especially when you play at their place. The way they were playing in the first half, we could have come out of that looking bad. But you can't let it affect you going on to the next game, and it's a great challenge with young guys.
Why did the Wildcats come away with an 80-66 victory at the Wells Fargo Center? Kind of a tale of two halves a little bit. You know, the Wildcats struggled a little bit defensively, giving up 36 points in the first half, but that defense really clamped down, holding the Hoyas to 30 in the second half.
Yeah, the defense really has been the story of the Big East season for Villanova so far. They did a great job, obviously, out of Creighton defensively. Great job in the second half against Marquette and Milwaukee. But this game was much more defense-oriented. although they made 10 threes in the first half. And offensive, this became Saddiq Bey.
Yes, without a doubt. Saddiq, with a career-high 33 points. He shoots 8 for 10 from 3. And it's kind of been a different guy each night. It's kind of been Colin Gillespie and Saddiq Bey as the two leaders offensively. But Coach Wright, specifically in the postgame, talked specifically about Jeremiah Robinson-Earl's defense and serving.
What was working well defensively against your 7, especially in the second half?
Jeremiah, when we now your 7 got him in foul trouble, but he did a good job on him. He did a really good job. He's strong. Jeremiah's strong, and he's got good quickness. Now, when he got to his spots, he was bigger than him. He could score over him, and he did get him in some foul trouble. And when we had Jeremiah out, he got it going a little bit. But I just thought he did a really good job on him.
Yeah, and I think Robinson Earl was terrific in that game. That was as good a game as maybe he's played as far as defensively and rebounding the basketball. And on this team, he has to rebound. He's averaging 10 rebounds a game, and he's going to need to. But your 7 it's a terrific offensive player. And Jeremiah Robinson Earl, the freshman, managed to keep on moving just a little bit further away from the basket with each possession. And eventually, Patrick took him out of the game. Actually, the guy who replaced him, Wahab, was much better.
And we talked a little bit earlier about Saddiq Bey. 8 for 10 from 3, career-high 33 points. Looked very aggressive in looking for his shot offensively.
Yeah, and efficiency. You talk about efficiency was so important in this game. We see a lot of guys score 20, 25 points, take a lot of shots. The other day, James Harden in the pros took 34 shots, scored 41 points. Well, he was very efficient in his shooting and making threes. 8 for 10. I think he tied the all-time big Villanova record for most threes made with Chris Jenkins.
So I had a chance to catch up with Saddiq Bey after the game. Here's that interview. We're joined by Saddiq Bey as the Wildcats defeat the Georgetown Hoyas 80-66 here at the Wells Fargo Center. Saddiq, let's talk defense first. Mac McClung comes in, one of their really outstanding players. Coach is giving you the assignment of guarding that best perimeter. You hold him to 3 for 15 today.
Preparation really helped us. Caleb Daniels, our transfer, he's an unbelievable player. So in practice, he gives us a tough look. And like I said, McClung is also a really dynamic player, so we just try to play tough, on him and hope he miss.
Coach Wright's talked a lot about Jeremiah's defense against you at serving today. Again, another big, strong kid. Gives up a couple inches in height, but the ability to shut him down.
Yeah, he's a freshman, and he's mature how he plays and for his age. So it was unbelievable how he was guarding ball screens and guarding one-on-one. That's what we need. That's what we need.
Now let's get to the other end of the floor. You showed 8 for 10 from 3. You have a career-high 33 points. I know the mindset's the same, but what you feel out there that got you going?
Just my teammates just continue to trust me, and every day, like I said, we work on our shots every day. So coming in, we should never be not confident. Trust on our ability. So I think that's what played a part in it.
I have a similar quote from Jalen Brunson when I interviewed him a few years back in the Bahamas. He said, "We put the work in, we should be confident." Is that how you guys feel?
Yeah, exactly. If we didn't put the work in, we wouldn't be as confident. But since we know we put the work in, that's why we come out with student confidence.
That's Saddiq Bey with a career-high 33 points as he leads the Wildcats to an 80-66 victory over the Georgetown Hoyas. Whitey, as the Wildcats celebrate their 100th year of Villanova basketball year, it's just so many special memories being a part of this program for as long as you've been. Why don't we talk about one specifically that you have in mind from the Coach Wright era since he became the head coach here 19 seasons ago?
As you well know, Steve, Coach Wright's had many very good victories, a couple of national championships, so a couple of Big East championships. But I think if you go back and look about the one game that probably meant more to him at that time in his career was the victory in 2005 against the Kansas Jayhawks down in South Philadelphia in a snowstorm.
January 22nd, 2005. As a foot of snow blanketed the Philadelphia region, the Wildcats geared up for what would be a signature battle with undefeated Kansas.
I don't know why people even came to that game, but our fans came out and supported the heck out of us that game. I would just remember I think we just made every shot.
For me, that Kansas game, I think we were already staying in this. I think we were staying in the city already in Philly, but it was so much snow the night before. We was like, man, we just hope people show up. They're number 2 in the country.
Nova Nation was there, and the blizzard of shots falling was the Cats' answer to falling short against the Jayhawks once before.
We had experienced the game before out in Lawrence and only lost by 7, won a good game. I thought everybody approached that game like there was no way we were going to lose.
Even more than a decade later, it remains a game that resonates with everyone who played.
I remember that game vividly, and you know, the first half I kind of got it started being on fire, and then the second half I slowed it. He took it to another level.
Sumter scored 25, and Allen Ray led the way with 27 as the Wildcats knocked Kansas from the ranks of the unbeaten.
Because I had the ball at the end, and as the students were running on the court, I threw the ball in the air. It was just 3 years for me, NIT, and finally saved the country. We're here. We can play with anybody.
Whitey, a big game here in the Pavilion tonight as Wildcats prepare to take on the DePaul Blue Demons, who come in at 12-4, 0-3 in the Big East Conference. You know, 4 guys in double figures. This is an improved DePaul team. They have quality wins this year over Iowa, Boston College, Minnesota, Texas Tech, and Northwestern. As many Power 5 wins as just about any team in the country. Talk about some of the keys for tonight's win if the Wildcats to get a win.
Well, the thing about you mentioned they have a very good non-league schedule, non-league victories. I mean, beating Texas Tech, that's a heck of a win. They won at Minnesota. They won at BC. Those are really good wins. But we've said about DePaul a year ago, too, they were much improved, but you need to be better than someone in this league. And right now they're 0-3 in the league, and I'm not sure if they are better than anyone. They lost to St. John's the other night, you know, sure, in New York, but they have to beat some teams in this league to move up, and it's what's arguably the very most difficult basketball conference in the country right now. And who are they better than? Talk about their personnel a little bit. They have Paul Reed, who's one of my favorite players in this league, was a year ago. He's averaging a double-double, terrific young player, not a big-time outside shooter, made a few threes, but more of an inside player, slasher, about 6'9", thin. Then they have Charlie Moore, who's a transfer, I believe he's a transfer from Kansas.
Yeah, he started at Cal, went to Kansas, and now at DePaul at his third school, but averaging almost 16 points a game, leading the team in scoring.
Yeah, leading the team in scoring, but he's a little guy. He's 5'11", and we would expect that the way Coach Wright has been doing things this year, he'll probably start Sadiq Bey on him defensively. You know, 6'7", big, strong guy. He's guarded most of the smaller people this year, and I think Coach Wright likes to put him on a small player like that.
And like most teams at Villanova play, DePaul comes in with a little bit more size. They're big up front. Jalen Butts, and you mentioned Paul Reed, 2 guys that can get you a double-double every night. So rebounding has got to be a big key tonight.
Rebounding for sure. And this is a team, when you look at the statistics, it really shoots the ball very well from the floor. But part of the reason is because those 2 guys you just mentioned, Butts and Reed. Butts doesn't shoot the ball outside of 4 feet, and Reed is an around-the-basket player mostly, too. So their shooting percentage is really high, but it's not from making threes. They only average a little bit over 6 3-pointers made per game, and I'm just not sure in this day and age in college basketball today in 2020 you can be a long-time winning team not making 8, 9, 10 threes a game.
Which seems to be the way the game is going. It's either layups, which DePaul can get with their big people, or threes, which they've struggled to make here since the start of the league. He's only shooting 22% from 3. The 5th starter, right, the one that not in double figures, was a highly recruited freshman, Romeo Weens, at about 8 points a game. So he's having a solid freshman year, and he's probably the building piece for these guys looking forward into the future.
Yeah, they are, and Dave Lato's doing a good job rebuilding that program, rebuilding it around a beautiful arena, you know, on the lakeshore there out in Chicago. But again, you have to get players, and you have to keep players. And last year they had Strus and Eli Kane. Those guys are now gone, so they move into a new group of guys. And again, they would have some good non-league victories. I think they were 12-1 coming into the league play, but now they're 0-3. They have to be better than someone in the league. The 10th place team in this league, 9th place team is probably not making the NCAA tournament.
And we talked a little bit earlier on in the show. Gillespie and Bey have been kind of the constants offensively. Who would you like to see get it going offensively tonight? Maybe that third piece for Villanova's offense.
Well, the third piece has really been the one that's been shaken up. I mean, we saw Samuels have some good games early. We had Swider had a great game down in Myrtle Beach. But I think it's going to have to. I'd like to see Swider. I'd like to see Cole Swider make a move in that direction. He had the huge game down in Myrtle Beach. I think it was against Mississippi State. We had 26, had a big game down there. And Simpson actually has been in foul trouble the past couple of games, which is shocking to me that he'd be in foul trouble. But he's a guy, when he's open on the perimeter, he can just knock down 3 after 3 after 3. He's a guy sometime in his career is going to make 8 threes in a game like we saw Sadiq Bey the other day. He's a guy I think is a missing piece who really could make a difference.
Let's take a little closer look at Cole Swider.
In basketball, sometimes you have to wait for the game to come to you. Patience with the process is never easy. But for sophomore Cole Swider, it's already apparent that it was worth the wait. Cole spent his freshman year learning more about becoming a Villanova basketball player and working through a frustrating injury, all part of a promising journey.
We all knew his offense was going to come. He had a great reputation as a great shooter coming in and a great offensive scorer coming into college, but he also had the humility to know like that he needed to develop in a lot of other ways, especially on the defensive end.
Cole, you're not staying square. Use your length. Be hand on ball, but don't be so far up on him like hand on ball right here. All right?
I was trying so hard not to focus on my shot last year. I was just trying to focus on defending and rebounding and just playing for my teammates and coaches. But when you're patented as a shooter and everyone expects you to make every single shot, it gets tough.
As a freshman, it's difficult because you don't feel confident. You're at a different level. The game's a lot faster. Your mind's going a million different places when you're a freshman. You're worried about playing hard, and you're worried about playing and doing the right things.
But Cole had help, leaders who could set an example and lend a hand, including his road roommate, Phil Booth.
Before games, he would be watching extra film in his room and just watching how teams covered ball screens or how certain players like to get into their rhythm, and extra from what we were doing as a team, which is a lot of film too. So just learning that from him and just picking up just different basketball knowledge, it was really great.
He was starting to play really well. He had a great game on the road against Providence and was really looking like he was ready to come on and be a big part of our team. And then he broke his hand, and he broke it at the worst possible time, where by the time he got back, we were deep into the season.
We're in March Madness, and we're trying to win, you know what I mean? So there's really no time for testing things out. And I knew that coming back, and I had a good mindset about it with the whole entire offseason. I was just working, trying to cement a place for myself and just try and become a Villanova basketball player.
He handled it extremely well. And you could tell by his progress in the offseason that he made that a positive. You can see it in his development and his assertiveness this season.
Gillespie, top of the key on the dribble. Finds Swider, left wing, catch fire three. Nailing it is Cole Swider. Open straightaway three, a swish for Swider.
He's gotten so much better over the summer and over the first couple games of the season, and you can see it, and he's done a tremendous job with it.
I think it's being more comfortable after a year with Coach Wright. I think it's just knowing the work that I've put in this past year. And that's what Coach Wright talks about. Like, confidence doesn't just come. It comes with the work and the time and the effort that's put in.
And like last year, and many years before that, Swider has a friend and a foil, a teammate and roommate, pushing and supporting him every day.
We've been playing against each other for a long time, which people probably don't know. We've been playing against each other since like middle school. So we've kind of known each other for a while. So once we had the Villanova in common, we started getting closer and closer. Then we were roommates, and then great year last year being roommates.
After games, like especially when I was hurt and he wasn't playing, we would go back to the room together and be like, wow. Like watching Phil and Eric play, like we like dream of being those guys and seeing what they're doing every single day and seeing what it takes.
Letting each other know like what we see out there, what he sees, what I see, what's different, what do we think's the same. So it's good having like another ear, another eye, and then also somebody who can also correct you.
As time goes by, through hard work, more of those corrections come from within.
As you get older in the program, you know more right away. You don't really have to necessarily think as much, so you can just go out and play hard, play for your teammates and coaches, and I think that's when it really comes, and the offense is easier, and then you just worry about defending and rebounding.
He's getting better and better each day at his skills. He's getting more confident with his skills, so it's great seeing somebody like that, you know, who was struggling last year. He's really taking advantage of it this year.
We always talk about, Father Rob talks about the stone cutter, and we talk about a lot. Keep tapping at the rock, keep tapping the rock, and then you don't know when it's gonna break, but it was every tap along the way that really allowed it to break, not just that last hard tap.
The kid is a confident kid. That's what we love about him. No matter what mistake he makes, he comes back confident, ready to make a play. He has become more decisive. He has become more sure of every decision he makes out on the court, and that's what you're seeing. He's got a clear mind. He's as coachable as anybody we've ever had, and I think we're going to continue to see this progress because of a clear mind, his coachability, and his intelligence.
You gotta love the process. You just gotta go through it, and you just gotta go through the bumps and bruises and like the highs and lows, and you just got to go through it yourself because that's what's really going to grow you as a person over time.
Whitey, the Wildcats tonight play their second of 4 straight home games here. There'll be 3 of them, 2 at the Pavilion and 2 at the Wells Fargo Center. You got to hold serve at home. That's so important, especially in league play. The Wildcats will step out of league on Saturday and take on the UConn Huskies.
Yeah, when you can steal a game on the road, it's really valuable in this league, but you have to protect your home turf. And it's very unusual to be home for 4 straight games. Granted, 3 league games, 1 non-league game, but the game tonight's vital. But then you play a good non-league team on Saturday against UConn, who just had a double overtime loss at home to a very good Wichita State team.
And then obviously the game that a lot of people are looking and circling on their schedule is that Butler game. Butler in the top 5 in the country right now will come to the Pavilion next Tuesday night. What do you expect to see out of the Bulldogs?
Well, and they're still going to be at least in the top 5 because looking at their schedule, they're not going to lose before they arrive in the Finneran Pavilion. But Butler's a good team. They're a very well-coached team. Kamar Baldwin's one of the best lead point guards in the country, probably one of the best players in the country you don't know much about. Little left-handed player who's been a constant there for a few years now. They have some good shooters, some good power players inside. They're a good all-around team that could make some noise in March.
Well, Whitey, I really had a good time with you tonight. Look forward to doing this again next Tuesday night, and let's go Cats.